Hello, friends. It's Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today is August 5th, 2024, a Monday, and we've seen all across every financial index fall there for you. And so we love it. It's the greatest thing ever. And yeah, everything's awesome on board with Kamala Harris. Nobody likes her. We love her. We revel in the idiocy because that's all we've seen out of U.S. politics here as we march toward World War III. It's very painful to see the depths of depravity we find ourselves in. Let's go ahead and I got a lot of this day in history. Shout out to everybody on Rockfin, Rumble, Odyssey X, YouTube, Facebook. We're blasting all over the interwebs, fighting through the censorship. Every show we do on these on YouTube and Facebook gets tagged for copyright. We're clearly fair using the material. Doesn't matter. They tag you anyway. It's robots. It's AI. It's the algorithms. They don't care. You'll never talk to a person. Plead your case. And that's where we're at. Good news is when's the first time we saw this? Like 2012, something like that. Oh yeah, by the way, Google's a monopoly. A court has ruled. Big surprise, isn't it? Been screaming that for years. They're unfairly keeping small people like me out of the market. Who cares? Your little Sam Cheney at Weaponized News, who cares? We spit on you. And so that's a big ruling. Facebook and Google control 90% of the advertising revenue on the internet. So how are you gonna make any money? The model is, they say you have to sell products, you have to build a community, sell your products like that. And that's fair enough, but it's hard when you're blocked everywhere. When Google send me an email saying that they will no longer do business with me through Google AdSense due to cyberbullying the World Health Organization. And that never happened. I never cyberbullied them at all. I never even had direct contact with them. They make it sound like I'm writing them threatening emails or something. Never happened. Nothing. It's just, I'm sure other people, plenty of others during the medical intervention period, got that same treatment. But yeah, they're a monopoly. Totally disgusting. We're not supposed to have monopolies here in America. We've already been through this with Standard Oil. We'll get to them. But they just break up into a bunch of little, and they gobble up, like they gobbled up YouTube. It kills innovation. It was even said in that ruling, which is true, because any small company trying to come up, compete, not allowed. They go buy them by hook or crook. They get rid of the competition. So anyway, monopolies are bad, but we're free market capital. The economy's great, and Kamala is the next president. So it's pretty damn awesome from where I sit here in the Central Valley of California, where climate change is, arson is known as climate change. And so we're in some type of dystopic reality that, I don't know, I guess the large majority of the public doesn't see it, doesn't care, goes along with it. I don't know, are in denial. They're in some type of trance under a social engineering mind control program. I don't know. It's extremely frustrating, but that's why we have to bring you weaponized news to let you know every day everything's weaponized against you, as is self-evident, but everything's the greatest. So there you go. Okay, this day in history, let's blast through this. A lot of things have happened on August 5th. Going back to 1846, the Oregon Territory was divided between the United States and Britain at the 49th parallel. A large land divide there. In 1861, Lincoln signs the first personal income tax into law. At that time, it was 3% on incomes over $800. My, how times have changed. In 1861, the United States Army abolished flogging. In 1882, Standard Oil, aforementioned monopoly, was established in New Jersey. And the Rockefellers have basically taken over every single institution in America ever since. And so we love it. We love their lies propaganda, twisting to their satanic will. And it's just awesome. We love it. Could have been in a whole different world, but the dark occult Satanists run everything. Sorry to tell you. In 1884, the cornerstone of the Statue of Liberty was laid on Bedloes Island in New York City. In 1890, British and French signed an accord to divide Africa colonization. That's very good of these white people now, isn't it? In 1891, the first traveler's check was issued by American Express in America. In 1914, the first electric light was installed in America in Cleveland, Ohio. And they've been ticketing people ever since. No, actually, I think it's weird when you come to a red light that's out, nobody knows how to drive. They don't know who has the right of way. I saw this just the other day, almost had an accident. I was like, wow, nobody knows basic traffic rules. Just stare at your phone, I guess, or GPS, and act as idiotically as you possibly can. And so that's the new traffic rules. And the ones that really get under my skin are these stupid roundabouts. I guess they have them in Europe. They install them here in the United States. Nobody knows how to work a roundabout either. I've seen a few accidents on those. So we revel in idiocy. We love it. In 1926, Harry Houdini, the famous magician, stayed in a coffin underwater for an hour and a half before escaping. Quite an accomplishment, I would say. In 1963, Britain, the United States, America, and Russia signed a nuclear test ban treaty and subsequently went on to violate that treaty, probably the same day, probably within the same hour, and set off nukes everywhere doing tests. Also in 1963, Craig Breedlove set the world land speed record. This is 1963, drove 407 miles an hour plus in the salt flats of Utah. That's going pretty damn fast on land. In 1964, the United States began bombing North Vietnam in response to the Gulf of Tonkin event that never happened, as we've been reporting. It either happened, there was two events reported, possibly, on the 2nd of August and the 4th, and the next day we went around bombing the hell out of North Vietnam for an attack that never happened. In 1981, conservative icon, wrongly so, but try to tell them that. They'll be triggered just as much as you talk about Trump. These conservatives, no better than liberals, honestly. Ronald Reagan fired 11,500 striking air traffic controllers. Conservatives love it. In 1986, Congress votes for Star Wars space weapons program. Supposedly never came to fruition. Who the hell knows what they got up there? Honestly, we pour unlimited funding into it. They got something up there. And of course, in 1992, we had the Rodney King race riots because the racist cops there in Los Angeles were acquitted on police brutality charges. In 2013, I didn't realize this until reading this day. That's why it's important to read this day in history. It's a long time ago. 11 years ago? 2013, the first bovine stem cell lab-grown meat was eaten in London. And we're barely seeing that over the last few years rolled out. And they're trying to commercialize it to get you to eat the bugs, to eat the lab-grown meat, and so on. And so, but it was 11 years ago. In 2014, President Barack Hussein Obama signed Iron Dome, funding the aardvarks, our greatest ally, the greatest people the world's ever known, who get run out of every country they destroy, giving them $225 million for the Iron Dome defense system. Seems like chump change nowadays. And of course, in 2022, only 4 years ago, Alex Jones was ordered to pay $45.2 million in punitive damages to the Sandy Hook families. So we got, like I said, a bunch of economic news. I'm sure everybody's already heard it. We'll go over it. They'll put a little spin on it maybe for you to brighten up your day on this Monday. Got a bunch of foreign news, of course, geopolitical news, the lead up to World War III. All of the world powers are lining everything up. Sure to blow up as many people as they possibly can. Hopefully, sounder minds and peace will prevail, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good out there. All that and a whole lot more. Let's play Simon's intro, Blue Monday by New Order, and then we'll get right to all of the news for you. I mean, how are you doing this Monday?
Well, Sam, you appear to have missed the whole point of the song. You're supposed to be telling me how I feel today.
You feel awesome. Like I've been, everything's awesome as the world burns and you're bankrupt and you can't eat. It's the greatest thing ever, according to the mainstream CIA media over here, because Kamala is coming in to save us.
It is what I dreamt of as a child.
Exactly. I grew up with this strange, bizarre, cackling woman being the leader of America, saving us. I grew up with those dreams. Let's go right to a clip from her. This is just we revel in idiocy now.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah. You know.
So that's qualifications for U.S. president: the cackling and woke.
I'm not sure who the blonde woman is on the right-hand side of her, but she's looking at her just absolutely stunned at the level of idiocy. Right? And she's probably one of her supporters, and she's like, I have to literally turn off like 95% of my brain in order to continue supporting this person.
It's bad, man. It's real bad, but I guess we have to support it. And then on the other side, here's Trump. Let's show you Trump today. He was with the biggest streamer on Kick. We try to stream on there and bring you real news and get one view. But idiocy rules the day.
This is after he met with Klaus Schwab yesterday.
Did he meet with Klaus Schwab?
Mm-hmm.
So here's Trump. He's pledged to not ban TikTok and some more idiocy, which America loves.
And I'll tell you about TikTok. Trump is going to keep TikTok going, whereas Biden and Harris, they have no idea what it means. And all it's going to do is be good for China the other way. It's no good. We're going to save TikTok. They want to destroy TikTok. So all of the people on TikTok vote for Trump.
Vote for Trump.
Did that get your vote, Simon?
It almost made me choke to death.
So Aiden Ross is this other kid that he's with there, and he's
And
a big.
Did you see he had his Tesla truck wrapped? And did you see the door?
Mhm.
That iconic picture of Trump punching the air after he literally got.
Can see it right there, yeah. So it's got my vote now. Okay, let's get to, is Trump even trying to win? It sure seems like he's throwing the game, rigging it. How could he be this naive about who's in his campaign? Emerald Robinson is reporting to us, Simon, that Trump voters should know the factions involved in 2024 campaign. There's Trump campaign run by Never Trumpers like La Chavita C, and that's his campaign manager. The RNC, which is staffed by Never Trumpers, but his daughter-in-law there, Laura Trump, as the figurehead, and 80% of the GOP want Trump out. So how could he be oblivious to this and not know?
How could he not know that people were dying from the vax?
How could he not know? It feels like they're running a giant scam on us. And then if you try to tell his supporters, hey, this is not right, they attack you instead of saying, hey, I'm just the messenger saying this guy, he's not running a winning campaign. I'm sorry to tell you, no matter how idiot the other side is, he's not looking that much better, honestly.
Yeah. Vance has kind of like been put in the basement, hasn't he? He's disappeared. If he was driving that Tesla truck to his next campaign event, he would have a dead stuffed cat as his hood ornament, right? He'd literally turn up with a dead cat strapped on the front of the truck.
Nothing would surprise me anymore with where we're at here as we go down the crapper of Western civilization. The end, they like to say end of, this is late stage capitalism. This is late stage empire.
Either that or it's eschatological, end of days, end of everything, right?
Here you go, Simon. With the cat reference at CatCom, some pounce at JD Vance over childless cat lady remarks. And so he's really upset this demographic.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know there was such a thing, but there is, and we love it.
Yeah, we're both disappointed we weren't there.
I just barely learned about it today. So I'll be at next year's CatCom for sure.
Sounds like a great place to meet menopausal women.
Okay, let's get into the hard news of the economy. What do we think? Everything went way down, and then they shut down all these trading platforms here. So the little guys, the retail quote investors, suckers, could not even access to make any moves. Robinhood, these other ones, they all locked out the people with accounts, so they couldn't make any moves.
Yeah. So it frankly, it's a lot less bad than Tokyo. Tokyo went into a real mega meltdown over the last 2 business days.
The carry trade
unwinding, basically where you borrow at 0% interest in yen, then you invest it and get 5% in dollars, and it's all great until it's not.
Investors are unwinding the biggest carry trade the world has ever seen. And that's what we're seeing, yeah. How much did...
And $20 trillion is tied up in that. Not all of it's exited.
And we can see right here, that every index, if you can see there on the top, is down across the board, except for this one, the volatility. That's 60 up. It's like almost 65%. So, and then
but that ticked down 2,000 points is on the week, not on the day.
And the Dow Jones here, the main one that they reference, down 2,000 today.
Not on the day that says per
week.
last week. Yeah, today it was down like 1,200.
So 5% almost in the past week.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's only going to get worse.
World War III would tend to do that for you, right?
But the military, I saw a lot of chatter on the interwebs talking about the military-industrial complex. Their stocks are not doing very well either here, Simon. You see everything, even Lockheed Martin, who had that big spike up, had closed the day down, actually, 0.5%.
Yeah, 0.5% as opposed to...
Totally crashing, but you can see here all the big dogs, Boeing, RTX, General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, all down today. So General Dynamics down 7.25% there. That's significant, I would say. So not looking good in the stock market. But let's play this short clip to brighten everybody's day. The Fed is there to save everybody.
Your ATM is safe. Your banks are safe. There's enough cash in the financial system. And there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. An infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
An infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love. Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love.
Your ATM.
I just love that meme, Simon.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go on full-on war with Iran, how much is that going to cost? How much did we spend in Iraq and Afghanistan? $8 trillion.
Well, speaking of that, here's the official debt clock, and so we just passed 35 trillion, and it just is flying there. USDebtClock.org. Everybody can go see. And our interest on the debt, you can see right here. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. I guess there's the military-industrial complex company stock will go up if they do start that war.
So we have reports after Shoigu went in with the Russian head of arms exports, and he met with Bagheri, and he met with Pezeshkian, the new Iranian president. There's reports that they've been flying in at a frantic pace over the last few days the Murmansk BN electronic warfare system. Now, the Iranians, and it seems very odd that this would leak, but the New York Times, for better or worse, is reporting that Russia, as a result of Shoigu's visit, is now trying to flood the country with additional air defense systems, their top spec radars. Obviously, there's no time to train anyone to use them, so they're going to have to send in Russian guys to actually operate the systems. And whilst that's going on between the Russians and the Iranians, then we find that the American General Kurillo, who's a 4-star in charge of Central Command, he was hanging out with indicted war criminals such as Mr. Galad in the quarters in Tel Aviv. And as usual, Galad putting out very strong messages saying, so happy to have the American leader of CENTCOM here, and it shows our close bond, and it shows how we're working to cement this relationship, and we're going to stand against Iran, etc., etc. Now, what's concerning there, and I'm not suggesting that he's acting rogue, but it is well known that Kurillo has been as publicly critical as you can be without being dismissed from the service of the politicians in Washington for doing what he considers to be diplomatic steps that has jeopardized the safety of the US force posture in the Middle East, and indeed the Al-Assad air base, which is in Anbar province on the way to the Syrian border, has been attacked by drones tonight, and we're told that there's 2 dead and somewhere between 1 and 3 injured. It's still a little bit vague on the details. Supposedly Kamala and Biden are meeting at the White House right now to discuss a retaliation strike. Now, what's interesting is Soudani apparently has met with all of the resistance factions, of which there are over a dozen in Iraq. It is literally as splintered a society as in Palestine, despite our entreaties for them to pull their act together and not end up like the Life of Brian from Monty Python. And apparently they've all reached agreement that it's full on to attack the Aardvarks and the Americans if they get in their way. Now, it would appear, having sent some of their in-flight refuelers out of Qatar, because Qatar's basically been saying they don't want America, notwithstanding its massive Al Ubaid huge airfield there. They just extended the lease on for 10 years to use that to attack Iran. So given that there's basically a failed state situation thanks to the Americans in Iraq, they appear to be flown not only a couple of their big refuelers, but also at least one, if not more, squadrons of aircraft from Qatar, which if people look next, they can see in the bottom of the map, they can see UAE. Then there's that bit that sticks out into the Persian Gulf there, that's the Qatar. So supposedly all these aircraft flew straight up, not the middle, but along the left-hand side to stay in Saudi airspace, round Kuwait, and then into Iraq. So the Saudis have said that they will not take the side of Israel, but that that their airspace is closed to anybody going from west to east or east to west. Jordan has said the same. They've now said that applies to the British, the Israelis, and the Americans and the Iranians. I believe that when I see it, but it's looking like assuming that the Iranians don't really want to piss off the Saudi Arabians and the Jordanians in order to attack Israel from the north, they're going to have to go from Tehran or Isfahan, essentially straight over Baghdad, straight over Damascus, and then into northern Israel. So the Americans seem to be stacking a whole load of aircraft into Iraq, where they do control most of the airfields, when they've basically got control of the entire Iraqi Air Force in the form of the old F-16s, which they're running for them. And they're going to try and form a defense line running down that wiggly line between Iran on the right-hand side and Iraq on the left-hand side of that very wiggly line. Okay, now the Iranians have had a bit of a diplomatic success. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation has agreed, even though they were already due to hold a regular foreign ministers meeting on August the 29th and 30th, that apparently the Iranians couldn't wait for that. So they're holding an emergency meeting of the foreign ministers of all 57 countries in Jeddah, which is in the southwest corner of Saudi Arabia, on Wednesday morning our time. You can see Jeddah just up there. It's actually spelled Jiddah on that map. Just up a little bit on the top left-hand corner. Keep on going. You can see it coming up. No, top left-hand corner. There's Jeddah there. Anyway, so that's where they're all going to meet, specifically to talk about the Hamas leader's assassination in Tehran, and essentially give their blessings or otherwise to the Iranian response. So,
Wow.
so those are the diplomatic steps that are going on. It seems likely, since they are getting reinforcements from the Russians, and there's obviously got to be kind of dismantled from the plane, driven off the plane to its installation, reassembled, get it up and running, calibrate everything. So that's going to take another few days. Meanwhile, obviously, America is moving its forces around as they find that there's increasing restrictions on where they're allowed to fly out of. Now, in April, they flew out of quite a lot of missions out of Turkey, and it would appear that that's not going to be allowed this time. So their options are really, really getting restricted. It's quite a difficult logistical problem for them now.
Let's take our live commercial break. Go to weaponizednews.com/shop. Get some merchandise over there, and give us that share on all of your streaming platforms there on the X. Simon, should we go to? Let's say it again here. The aardvark systematically abusing Palestinian detainees in torture camps.
So we've had 2 reports come out concerning this. We've had one from Beit Salem, which is an Israeli human rights organization. They've put out a very extensive report called Welcome to Hell. That's Israel, for those who aren't clear. And so all those who squeal that, anybody who condemns the aardvarks are anti-Semitic, this is from a aardvark human rights organization called Beit Salem. Their name is in the little logo at the top. And then the United Nations Committee for Human Rights, the UNCHR or OCHR, has also put out a parallel report, and they've both come out today, and they make for absolutely horrific reading, really, really horrific.
The Israeli prison system is a network of torture camps. So how in the hell can anybody, America, freedom, democracy, how do any of these people support it? Well, our Congress.
It's completely against U.S. law, but as
Yeah.
John Yu told us, do whatever the hell you want and apologize to us.
It's not a laughing matter. Just the corruption is the next level. If you criticize them, of course,
but it's another case of double standards, right?
If
the only person who got held accountable for all the CIA torture camps all across Europe and the Middle East was the CIA lawyer who blew the whistle on the whole scheme. He went to prison for 5 years or something.
Yes, indeed.
What was that, Kiriakou?
Yes, indeed. So the only one that gets in trouble is anybody that has a conscience and is not 100% evil. Physical violence, intimidation, sleep deprivation, violence during transfers and travel, sexual violence,
electrical shocks to the genitals, rape,
hot pokers up the rear end, starving them to death, waterboarding, basically any kind of medieval type torture you could think of, they are doing it over there.
Yes, it's Talmudic as opposed to medieval, right?
Well, there you go, Talmudic. From the greatest people on God's green earth, they tell us. So it's just over the top, out of a Hellraiser sci-fi horror movie, and they're doing it, and our Congress fully supports it, except for a few. And it's beyond words what they're doing there. And of course, like you say, they'll get away with it because they have to get away with it. Following God's hand, apparently. Welcome to hell. Yeah, big old report there. The link for anyone interested in reading, we'll put it on the Substack and in the sources, and you can go ahead and go find this and read it and be horrified.
And both reports are in my Twitter feed.
And right on Simon's Twitter feed.
If people are doom and gloom addicts, they would have received that a few hours ago.
God, it's just so horrific. If we had any kind of media that weren't just that weren't Mockingbird intelligence assets, they would all be screaming at the top of their lungs about this. You don't hear a word from them here in America because they care about the people and equality and blah, 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 all the BS that they feed us because they're woke, right? And they care about everybody so much. But torture camps, no big deal. Should we play the Scooby-Doo now
Sure.
to lead into our favorite
One of our two favorite aardvarks, Mr. Smoketrick.
cartoon villain from Hal? Here's Scooby-Doo to lead into the Smoketrick news.
Great work, King. We caught the Headless Horseman.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for your meddling kids. And your dog, too.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Hold on just a minute. That wasn't the only goal.
Like, what are you talking about, man?
I'm afraid he's right. There were always two ghosts terrorizing the household. There he is now.
Ooh, I'm a ghost. Oh, well, gee, all right, I guess there is.
That's the ghost? The dude with the...
Well, all right, King, let's get started. Velma, Daphne, and I'll go look for some clues. Shaggy and Scooby, you guys go check out our ghost and see what
wait just a minute, Fred. Like, we've dealt with some creeps before, but I don't think we should be involved with this one.
Oh, here we go again. Same old Shaggy.
Same old. Look, man, I've helped with Headless Horsemen, vampires, werewolves, whatever you throw at me.
Right, so just help us with this one and we'll go on.
Are we looking at the same guy, Fred? That's just a guy with an axe. There's no, he barely has a costume on. I don't think scaring is his top priorities tonight.
Shaggy, if he wasn't trying to scare us, why would he dress up as a ghost?
I don't know, man, but I'm not gonna stick around and find out.
Maybe it would help to know a little bit more of the history of this ghost. Is there anything you can tell us, sir?
Of course, everyone knows the legend of the guy, the ghost. The ghost with the axe. He did he's got an axe. He's got an axe.
Oh, come on, Shaggy.
Won't you do it for a Scooby snack?
A Scoop gang? If I so much as get closer to that man, I will die. You will never hear from me again.
Well, I'll leave you to it.
Well, now hold on. You're not gonna do anything?
What exactly do you expect me to do?
I don't know. Maybe arrest the menacing lumberjack holding an axe?
All I see is that ghost, friend. You can't arrest ghosts.
He's wearing jeans, man.
Oh, Shaggy.
I am laughing.
Let's get into a ghost.
Oh, man.
So, pretty easy analogies to draw there. Smotrick is definitely the man with the axe after he announced, as reported in most of the Israeli media today, and even the Western press, that he would have liked to have starved 2 million people in Gaza, but the world just wouldn't let them get away with it. Those pesky humanitarians all over the world just couldn't see that it was moral and justified. And I'm pretty sure that your soul will get stained if you spend a lot of time hanging out with Smotrick. And it is interesting to note that apparently the ICC just can't arrest him, much like the sheriff in the Scooby skit there. But apparently not because he's a ghost, but because he's somebody with a small hat.
Oh my God, it's just so Twilight Zone dystopic that we have to report to you. Man.
But as Arnaud Bertrand said, it is another very good example of genocidal intent, which is normally so incredibly hard to prove, and there he is boasting about it to the Times of Israel, yet again.
They say, well, they have no fear, right? They're constantly posting their war crimes, and no fear. It's the greatest thing ever.
We had Joseph Borrell, he of the Jungle fame, who's shortly to be the ex-foreign minister of the European Union, saying, yeah, it looks real dicey that the Israelis have blown up the last water purification plant in Gaza, but we need an investigation to find out what happened. They literally videoed themselves, the IDF, setting the charges and blowing the place up, all on their video. And he's calling for an investigation. Like, what more evidence could there possibly be than Israeli soldiers filming themselves doing it narrating it, and then celebrating as they blow the place to smithereens.
That's a tough case to crack, Simon.
Yeah, apparently so. We need to go look for some clues. Though I wouldn't be averse to crawling around in the dark with Daphne there, who you'll notice in the little voiceover, they gave a particularly sexy Czech stripper kind of voice.
On that note, should we go to? Well, let's show this.
You want to say Daphne's house?
No. On that note, this Olympic hot chick, swimmer chick, she got kicked out. She got kicked out of what's her name? Luna Alonso is removed from Olympic Village as Paraguay blame her for creating an inappropriate atmosphere among her teammates.
I can imagine her walking around in a bath towel being slightly distracting from my news gathering activities.
But I mean, all the swimmers all the athletes are very fit. Except for I was watching the archery, and those guys all have beer guts on them. But
and the Czech guy who turned up with no gear and won the silver medal. Not the Czech guy, so the Turkish guy.
Yeah.
He's quite legendary. There's a meme out with him shooting from an armchair with a cat on his lap and kind of beers by his side.
I think so. He has overthrown, his meme has overthrown the Hawk Tui girl. Some report on the interwebs have said.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could see how she would be distracting. But never mind the two dudes that are fighting in the women's boxing championship later today.
Yeah.
Or it may have already happened. I'm not really tracking it that closely. But yeah, that's where we're at here. Okay, let's go to another dastardly character back in the West. Our governor, he probably fits right in there with old Smotrick. They're on almost the same level. I would dare to say, Gavin Newsom. He's got a new podcast out where he has gone and visited San Quentin State Prison here in California. Let's watch a clip of this. Gavin Newsom should be in San Quentin State Prison as an inmate, of course, after he's tried legally because of all the crimes against humanity that he has committed, and God knows how many deaths that he is behind. But let's play this short clip from his new podcast. He takes time out of his governing duties of the fifth largest economy in the world, California, all of the wildfire crisis going on here now, the homelessness, the drug crisis, the energy crisis, on it goes. But he's taking time out of his busy governing duties to give us this podcast. Let's watch a short clip.
Today we're going into San Quentin to learn more about this place and what it's all about.
All the things that I've done as governor, the one thing I wasn't prepared for was this space.
I want you to run for mayor of Oakland. That's what I'm saying.
Bitching about what
throw
I'm
my
not
name
doing.
in there, fuck it, man. You
Beast mode 2024.
Man, throw me in the office.
Hey, tell Doug how we know each other.
Really.
People are selling you fear and anxiety, and that's what this is about. And it's fueled by anger, and it's understandable because people want to be safe. But this has become a racket, and breaking up this racket is hard, and the opposition is real, and it's not about politics.
So I'm about
Democrats,
to say, you better
Republicans.
be careful, bro, because when you get to talking like that, stern and all that type of
Sorry,
shit
man.
like
Yeah.
there, my
I'll
boy.
get intense about
them
it.
motherfuckers, they be creeping and shit, man.
I'm happy that we got a warden like this that know where people like myself came. I needed to do some healing up in here, bro. Like, I was really hurt. Like, I went through a lot of trauma growing up in Oakland. In order for me to change and transform, bro, I had to heal myself. And through these self-help groups and having the support network in here, bro, they help you heal.
You right on time,
If you
bro.
don't heal yourself, bro, you can't help nobody.
I'm still trying to figure out how y'all got Skittles in here, bro.
As you can see there, Simon, Governor Newsom, a man of the people.
So I'm very glad that he made some friends inside because he's going to need some assistance when he gets convicted.
God, we can only hope. He did commit crimes against humanity during the medical intervention period. And I'm sure
Let alone all the fraud that occurred.
all the fraud, we all lived through it. I don't want to relitigate it here, but my God, the gall of this guy, Gavin Newsom. They're clearly setting him up for 2028. I would have thought they would, and they may still try to sneak him in. Who knows? But it looks like he's still has his eye on that old White House for 2028, possibly. Okay.
Why, you thinking that Kamala won't do 2 terms?
Well, she may. Okay, back here in California, their home base, Google, Silicon Valley. I've been screaming this for more than a decade that Google's running a monopoly on the internet as far as the advertising and search engine platforms they provide go. And so today, a judge has ruled Google an illegal monopoly on search. And so, was this a big surprise to you, Simon?
No. It's a surprise that they've had a ruling go against them, which they've managed to avoid for a good 20 years. But now it looks like the pigeons may be coming home to roost. But I imagine that they'll tie any action up in appeals for at least the next 5 years, right?
For the next decade, probably. But the decision is a significant win for the Justice Department, really.
In a case that was initiated by Trump and surprisingly continued by the Biden administration.
They sued Google, who controls 90% of online search market and 95% of smartphones. And so this is a big ruling against them, but they're going to keep screwing everybody over for the foreseeable future. But at least we did get an antitrust ruling against them.
It is bizarre that the Biden administration continued this lawsuit,
It is.
considering how Google is essentially working for the U.S. government to censor the internet.
They are the U.S. government. I mean,
Yeah.
they essentially are.
It's literally the U.S. government suing themselves.
Yeah. Well, they do put on. Nobody has ever said they don't put on a good circus show for us too.
I mean, if they were really going to break up Google under antitrust, can you imagine the number of executives there that could go squealing to Senate committees saying, we want to tell you everything that we've done for the last 20 years in exchange for immunity?
All the crimes they've committed against the American people and the whole world, actually, because it is the World Wide Web, but specifically here in California, just their crimes are legion. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see a little bit more about California here. So we had the big, for those and other states, I think I saw people complaining about they just passed this in Colorado. We've been dealing with it in California since 2015, the plastic bag ban. And so they're starting to figure out that the plastic bag, because now instead of, it's not really a ban, what it is a tax. And so you used to go to the grocery store and you'd get free plastic bags. They were thin plastic material. And honestly, I would use my leftover bags to go pick up my dog poop. But they passed this law that says we ban them, but they really didn't ban them. Now they just charge you like anywhere from 10 to 25 cents per plastic bag. Now it's thicker plastic. And the idea behind that is you're supposed to go and reuse these bags and take them back every time you go. Nobody does, or very few people do, because it's hard to remember, and you got to carry around these bags all over the place. Anyway, now they're starting to come to the realization that these, quote, reusable plastic bags are a bigger environmental hazard than the original bags that the grocery store gave you for free that were built into the price of products that were part of the service of buying groceries at that store. And so now they're trying to flat out outlaw plastic bags. So that's where we're at, just down the road of further idiocy. And so soon you'll have to carry out your groceries in your arms if you forgot to bring your reusable bag. And there's also problems with bacteria in the bags from meat products and other foods. But public health in California is on it, and so they probably will ban grocery shopping and eating.
No. They'll just ban meat.
Just ban meat. There you go. So we see that total and complete utter failure, and they'll just double down on it and fail again. a great success for the labor unions in California. The SEIU, Fast Food Labor Union, is now demanding. We already have $20 for the rest of the country. They're probably shocked, but here in California, it's $20 an hour for fast food workers is the minimum wage law. Went into effect in April, and we've seen many restaurants go out of business. We've seen business go down because these restaurants have had to increase prices to offset this labor price increase, and now people just simply can't afford it. Now they're calling this labor union, the SEIU, is now calling for another 70 cents pay increase, and so you'll see further decline in restaurant patronage, and restaurants just in general, they'll probably be outlawed here soon, along with the meat outlaw. And so you probably won't even be able to get a cheeseburger in California in the not too distant
You'll
future.
just be allowed to eat the plastic bag.
That's how we're going to recycle, is just eat plastic bags, apparently. Okay, what do we make? What do we make, Simon, of Bangladesh Prime Minister is fleeing the country? I think we have video of that. Are you there, Simon? Looks like we lost Simon. I know he's dealing with a tropical storm right now. He's having flooding, and so it's a miracle that he made it this long on the broadcast, and he's been under the weather as well. So we do appreciate Simon's effort to bring us his presence here on Weaponized News. But we do have video. The Bangladesh Prime Minister has fled the country. Simon, are you back there with us?
I hope so.
So I was going to play the video right now of footage of the Bangladesh Prime Minister fleeing the country.
Yes, indeed.
Let's
With her sister, who has British citizenship as well. And it seems, even though she's been supported by India for 15 years, the Bangladeshi Prime Minister is hoping to go out and get extra benefits by living in England. She was the daughter of the independence leader of Bangladesh. She'd been in office for 15 years, was recently re-elected for the 4th time, and we've had 2 big waves of protests in Bangladesh that's resulted in over 1,000 protesters being killed. And
we lost you there again. Are you there? She resigned her duty, Sika Hassan, and she fled the country following deadly protests. Quite a sight to behold there. I wish our leaders would flee the country, honestly. I don't want deadly protests, but they just need to resign. It's happened before. It would actually serve the public good, but we know that these crooks would never do that. You back there, Simon?
so while everyone's squealing about what's happening in Britain, I would just say, let's look at Bangladesh for an example of how to really overthrow your deep state.
How will we ever see American leaders resign and flee the country?
One can only hope.
One can only hope. They promised us they won't be safe. They won't be able to walk the streets. I still see all the public health authorities walking around just fine with no problem. So
and not one state has done constitutional amendments to actually protect the rights of their citizens.
So
like with the election integrity, we have learned absolutely nothing. And even if we have learned what should be done, we haven't actually legislated in order to change it.
And so expect the next crisis for even a harder crackdown.
Because all of the levers of power that existed in 2020, they're all still in place.
They're all still in place. Simon, I think that's about all we have for today. Did we cover everything that we needed to cover?
Yeah, so
your connection, it's good that the show's ending because your connection is not very good here. Let me check on the platforms and see if anybody's over there. Hello, Highland Fool. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. I see people tuning in on the Rumble. Thank you very much on the Rumble. A little bit of chat. Karen Mercurius, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for going in the chat there and bantering about a little bit. And then, over there, thank you, Gene, for tuning in. Your vote matters. It validates the fraud. Yes, thank you very much. Kamala appreciates it. Okay, Simon, I think we covered everything.
So we should just remind everyone that we are still fighting, not only in my case a hurricane, because it was a Hurricane 1 when it made landfall, and it did rain an enormous amount. It rained like 7 inches in 48 hours or something, or more, and it's still raining a bit. Some people have died, and at one point I was under 7 weather alerts, which is the most ever, 7, including a tornado watch. So that was an interesting couple of days.
Did it help you, or did it just like terrorize you?
No, tornado watches and tornado warnings are life critical. There was also flood warnings and a tidal storm surge warning as well. So if you're very coastal, it might tell you to get away. In addition to that, I'm also extremely sick and really struggling through these broadcasts. So my voice sounds a little strange. It's not because I'm disinterested. It's just because I'm in the process of dying. And otherwise...
we have one more story, Simon.
I just want to really ask people that it is important because, unfortunately, even if some people have assisted in the past, they seem to think that it's a one and done. As your wife or girlfriend may say, it's not one and done. And you do need to try and repeat as often as you can. And that actually also includes reposting, retweeting, or sharing this broadcast and the links there too on whatever social media forum you happen to be lurking on. So please, it's very, very important for people to remember that if they are receiving this broadcast, they are part of the resistance. And we do need them to exercise their trigger finger to keep it in fully operational condition by simply hitting retweet in order that we can try and get a few thousand views rather than a few hundred views per day. And the only way of doing that without controlling Google or Twitter or Facebook, which I am plodding at, but the scheme is unfolding slowly, unfortunately. I may not live through the week, let alone to be able to rule the media world. And in the meantime, therefore, we do need assistance. And it's a very, very simple task. And frankly, it's not a big ask. And I don't really understand why you would resist doing that if you've actually listened to the show for a full 60 minutes or longer in some cases. When you get some bonus time, then you should easily be able to give us 2 or 3 seconds of your finger energy.
Shauna, Simon, I see Shauna give us a retweet there on the X. Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you. So if another 100 people would do that, then you would be part of the first 100 people of 10,000 people viewing this. Because literally, if we got 100 retweets a day, it would go out to the most incredible number of people. I think that's it.
We have one more story, Simon. Our friend, the greatest Democratic president that Europe has ever known, Zelensky, he's now, it's being reported he's
allegedly, as of the 28th of June, purchased a massive wine estate from the rock star by the name of Sting. It's been purchased by a Ukrainian property holding company, the 2 owners of which are Zelensky and his lovely wife. So it's nice to know that they have a $150 million Egyptian hotel and casino resort, and now a 75 million euro wine estate being designed to perfection by the rock star Sting.
And so gutting Ukraine of its wealth and population. A total war criminal rewarded here with a 75 million euro luxury wine estate in Italy. How is he not arrested for war crimes, being a war profiteer? The world will never know, I guess.
But he's modeling himself on New Scum.
And old Smoke Trick, too, it seems.
Yeah.
And so all these dastardly cartoon villains are real, and they really are screwing everybody over. Maybe someday we'll see justice. I have my doubts. But that's the end of this Weaponized News broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on Odyssey, Rockfin, Rumble, BitChute. I saw we had some BitChute people, no comments there. So get in the comments if you guys would help us out there. YouTube, X. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this Monday. We're going to keep a close eye on the developments there with Iran in West Asia as things intensify. It seems all of the powers that be are lining up on both sides, getting ready for a massive conflict there. And imagine what that's going to do to your stock portfolio. So we're praying for peace, but it's not looking good with maniacs running around in all high positions of power. So with that, Simon, I wish that you well, and I hope you can feel better and stay dry there in the tropical storm. And we're going to sign off for Monday edition of Weaponized News. As always, do your own research, peace, love, and liberty. Speak out and take action. Here's the animals. We got to get out of this place.
Introducing the animals.
In the stereo part of the city where the sun refused to shine, people tell me it ain't no use in trying. My little girl, you're so young and pretty, and one thing I know is true, you're gonna die before your time is due. See my daddy in bed and dying, see his hair turning gray. He's been working and slaving his life away. I know. He's been working, yeah, every day, slaving his life away. He's been working, baby. He's been working. We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do, we gotta get out of this place. Girl, there's a better life for me and you. My little girl, you're so young and pretty, and one thing I know is true, you'll be dead before your time is due. Yes, you will. See my daddy in bed and dying, see his hair been turning gray. He's been working and slaving his life away. Yes, I know. He's been working, yeah. He's been working, yeah. We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do, we gotta get out of this place. Girl, there's a better life for me and you. Oh, baby. We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do, we gotta get out of this place. Girl, there's a better life for me and you.